Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good brunch, whatever you want to call it. It is 11 a.m. in beautiful Los Angeles, California. We had a great rain. We desperately needed the rain, and now the sun is coming out, which is a good thing. So, for those of you who are just tuning in, my name is Whimsy, also known as the Oracle of Whimsy, for those of you with a sense of humor. And this is where pretend and reality meet. Is it pretend? Is it real? Or is it the rabbit hole where we really can't tell the difference after a while? So I got to get my prop. I knew I forgot something. So, what do y'all think? Should we sing the song? We're going to sing the song, but it's kind of a sad day, right? We got it right. We got it right. I have trouble. I have trouble feeling good right now about the fact that we got it right. To be honest with you, I feel for the whole country. I have empathy for the farmers and the people in the Midwest and the people of Michigan who are dealing with unbelievable challenges that really hoped that this president would step up to the plate. So I feel bad. I feel bad for people that voted for him and are still struggling. I feel bad for the farmers that can't pay the landlords because their soybeans are rotting in the field. I mean, I just, people in depressed areas that were hoping that they would get work. I just feel bad. So it's hard for me to sing the "I Got It Right" song. I feel awful. I feel awful. But we're going to go ahead and talk about last night's remote and what is probably going to be happening in the coming weeks and months. And you'll understand a little bit more about why I'm not all that happy right now. But let's start with gratitude, and let's start saying hi to everybody who supports the channel. You guys got to cheer me up. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see the country at war with each other. I don't want to see people fighting. I'm the Oracle of Whimsy, I want to see people happy. So let's give gratitude to everybody who's here. We have 110 people here, and 114, excuse me, and rising. So I really want to thank people who have decided to spend the hour with me. I'm very grateful for the support here of the channel. I also have a couple of announcements that I want to make. As people know, I was planning on moving to Australia. And it was very expensive. It was very stressful. And I just kind of had a meltdown thinking about everything that was going to go into moving to Australia. And one of the spiritual lessons I learned over the last couple of months is that when we don't feel safe, when we're having meltdowns and panic attacks about our finances and taking money out of your retirement, it's hard to be a nice person when you don't feel safe. So I kind of took it out on Michael, and I feel bad, but I have to listen to my gut instincts, and so I have decided at this time not to move to Australia. So the money that people for the Love Fund, I donated it to charity this month, and I'll donate the rest of it to charity. I decided that the best way for me to feel safe is to get my own place because I never bought property. So given my unstable childhood, that's no surprise. I think it's time to get a little stable. So that's what I'm going to do. And then when I feel safe and I have my own home, I think I'll be in a better position to open myself up to, relationships, particularly long distance relationships. So nobody's bad. Nobody's an awful person. Michael's a beautiful soul, but if a person, no matter who you are, if you don't feel safe because of your financial situation or whatnot, or if you don't feel like you have control over your life, then I don't think a relationship is going to work. So I'm just going to spend the next couple of years getting myself stable, buying some property, getting everything taken care of. And then when I'm in a situation where I feel like I've got it together, and we'll see. But I still would love to vacation in Australia, get a little loving going on. That sort of thing would be nice. It's a beautiful part of the world. I just need to take care of me right now. So I just wanted to let people know that who are considering making a donation to the Love Fund. It will be donated to charity. And instead, I'm buying property in the Pacific Northwest, probably. All right. So got that out of the way. Now I want to give gratitude to everybody who's decided to join us. I want to say hello to Sacred Site Energy Healing, Deborah Contrill, good to see you. Bobby Vox, hello. And Soul Sister, welcome. Miss Sharon, hello. Jamie G, welcome, welcome. White Sage, ooh, I love white sage. I love the smell of it, and I like making tea out of it. Susan Haynes, hello. Jane F, hello, hello. Renee is here. Welcome back, Renee. And Ronnie, shalom. Lori Sue Cragen Clampt, welcome, welcome. Valerie Woodford. Pels, hey to you as well. Noelle, who is our moderator extraordinaire. We welcome her and we give gratitude to her for her hard work. Pamela Gravity. Donna Bellinger Ryan, good morning to you. And Miriam Ramirez is back. Welcome, hello from San Diego. Louisa Garcia. Halo boy. Peggy. Aloha from Hawaii to you. Anna Werson. Hello, Anna. Good to see you here again. Roxanne French. Pamela Winston. Phyllis Rowan. Gina O. Hello. Sylvia Hyman. Pamela, welcome. I'll keep saying hi to everybody as we go along. Hello to Jen from Smoky Sydney. Hominy is here. Sammy, Michelle Tom. Diane W. All right. We are going to get going now. Hi, Joanne Frank. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to start going. I do want to take a couple minutes always to show gratitude because I wouldn't be able to do this channel if I didn't have an audience. So it's appropriate to show gratitude. All right, so I did a remote viewing last night, and I was in trance for about 45 minutes, so my back is not good. I threw my back out. But what I did is I focused on the energy in DC. And I want to go back and review last year's remotes 2 years ago when it was, for those people who were part of the private channel, we had a private channel for a couple of years, about 2.5 years, and then we went public about a year ago. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what we saw a couple of years ago and why we followed the energy where it is, unfortunately, right now. As we mentioned, we saw impeachment in the House and that the president would be given the honor of resigning prior to the articles of impeachment being drafted in the Senate. There would be a consensus in the Senate, and I think that that is where we're headed. I also think the intelligence agencies are about to show their hand. So this was done in a very methodical way with the intelligence agencies. They did a technique which I've been calling it rope-a-dope. So what they did was they allowed the people that were under surveillance to believe that the investigation had closed, but they continued to monitor the situation. And one of the people that they were monitoring was Lev Parnas and Igor as well. Can't remember his name. Igor. So they were basically monitoring phone calls, and they had people under surveillance. They also, one of the things that Robert Mueller did is that he closed the investigation. We talked about that. and then he boxed it up and sent it on to existing investigations, including SDNY. One of the things I said last year, a couple of years ago, when I was following the energy, was that I followed the energy all the way to corruption in DC, and that the real investigation was leaks in the intelligence agencies. That's what was really going on. That was the real investigation. The real investigation was never the Mueller report. The Mueller report was kind of a public way of having Americans feel that something was being done. It was almost like palliating people, but we were never supposed to see the actual full report. What was really going on was, number one, they were trying to, the biggest threat to the Republic was the fact that we had leaks in the intelligence agencies. Some of those leaks have now become public. We're seeing people like people that were involved in the hacking, people that were handing over information like Snowden, who's now in Moscow. He's under the protection of the Russians, as are a couple of other people that were in the intelligence agencies. They fled to Moscow. America's trying to get them back. But some of the other people that were involved in handing over information to Russia are currently either in jail or awaiting prosecution. So that was the investigation. It was trying to figure out who the leakers were, who was working with Russia, and they basically didn't arrest anybody or move forward until they had enough information and had intercepted enough information. So now they have enough information. About a year and a half ago, when I did a remote, I think Cransburn, you might want to find another place to go. So we wish you well. Thank you, Cindy, for romance. Thank you, Cindy. Romance is good, but I'm not moving to Australia. So, which brings us to Robert Mueller. One of the intelligence leaks that Mueller was really focusing on was the money. And even though the actual Mueller report didn't talk about the money, he was, as I had said before, and I'll say it again, he was following the money all the way to the Capitol steps. And now we know that, what was his name? Nader and 8 other people have been charged yesterday. That's a big deal. For taking money and putting it not only into Hillary Clinton's campaign, but also into Donald Trump's campaign. So it's not really just about the Democrats or about the Republicans. It's again about dark money, people being compromised by foreign governments, and leaks in the intelligence agencies. And foreign operatives or people that have been bribed or compromised that are currently working in DC as Congress people, senators, etc. And this is one of the reasons why we see a lot of prosecutions happening right now, arrests happening right now. It's the reason why Alan Weisselberg has immunity. And it's interesting, you go into the energy and it just looks that the intelligence agencies now are ready to show their hand, and everything is coming together, and that will really express itself more as the Senate opens up this investigation. But we'll start seeing parts of this when the intelligence agencies begin testifying in the House. Now, as a consequence of this, we're going to see a couple of things start to emerge in the coming months, and I think people need to be kind of aware of it. The first thing I had said was that Nancy Pelosi is really focusing on making sure that the House has everything they need. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. So that they can go forward cleanly, positively, etc. There's going to be a lot of blame you're going to start seeing in the coming months. People are going to want to know, particularly not just the Republicans, but also the Democrats as well. How did these intelligence breaches happen? How did they happen? Why did they happen? As more and more information comes out, about the extent to which our intelligence was compromised, people are going to start shifting the blame. And this is something that I think we all need to be prepared for in the coming months. Who is responsible for this? How did this happen to our country? As it becomes increasingly obvious the extent to which we had a security breach, we now are going to start seeing the blame game. Was it Obama's fault? Was it the intelligence agencies under Obama? You're going to start seeing a little bit of that. You're going to start seeing members of the intelligence agencies put under the fire in front of the Senate, in front of Congress, being drilled. How did we get to this point? How did voting rolls get hacked? How did we come to this point? And so that's really where this investigation is headed. And thank you, Joanne. You're very sweet. That is really what, be prepared for. If the problem is the intelligence agencies and people compromised in the intelligence community, like Flynn, for example, who was compromised and let go by Obama, then the question becomes, whose fault is it? You see where we're headed? So if you have 4 or 5 people from the intelligence agencies sitting in Congress with a bunch of congresspersons screaming at them, wanting to know how this happened, I'm setting the stage for what we're going to be seeing in the coming weeks. They are, you could argue, 100% responsible for how we wound up here. And that means compromised people on both sides, following the money, right? Because it's all about the money. Who from the Democratic Party knew, right? That's only fair. And oh, thank you, Hamini, you're so sweet. Who in the intelligence agencies, did they put their head in the sand because they liked a particular politician? Whether it was a Democrat or whether it was a Republican, who were there bribes going on? Who was bribed? So that is where we're headed. Now, an interesting thing is going on, and that is that you're going to see, as a response to this, a rise in support for blue dog Democrats. And specifically, you're going to see a rise with Biden and Klobuchar. And the reason why is because Klobuchar has a very strong position about Russia, as does Biden. And so you see that nice juxtaposition happening between Biden and Klobuchar, where you could see that ticket. That would be, again, a good blue dog ticket. Biden and Klobuchar with Kamala Harris becoming AG or Supreme Court under Biden. I don't know if that would necessarily be a bad idea to do that, because Klobuchar would take the Midwest, and Biden has strong support because everybody knows him from both sides. And then, as I had mentioned, you have the progressives, Bernie and Elizabeth Warren. The degree to which these two sides play it out is going to be very, very interesting. I really felt like Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg had really strong energy moving in this year. But I like how Biden is meeting with Klobuchar and Kamala Harris. He could surround himself with some very powerful women, and that could cushion him going forward. And it'll be interesting to see that. Last thing I want to talk about before we go into the Tarot blitzes, and I'm happy to spend time here doing whatever blitzes people like, is I want to talk about Mike Pence from the perspective of the evangelicals when you do a remote view of the evangelicals. And I want to be clear that as a remote viewer, it's not my job to judge or to share the opinion, or, I get hired by clients all the time, and very rarely do people want my opinion. That's not my job as a remote viewer. My job as a remote viewer is to give up ego to become one with the energy and then simply deliver the information to the client. So when I go into the energy of the evangelical Christian community, and I go into the energy of the Republican Party, they really want Pence to be given a chance. This is the energy shift we're going to start seeing. Give him a chance. Give him a chance becomes the new mantra. If Trump does not resign soon, you're shooting Pence in the foot. And in that sense, betraying the people that put you in office, the evangelicals, the devout Christians, the people that are praying for the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, that's going to represent their values. And so as they pray and they think about the kind of America that they want to create, the right thing for Trump to do, from their perspective, would be to step down. The sooner the better, so that they can mount a re-election campaign for Pence. Pence would serve for about 6 to 9 months, and that would give him enough time to build some kind of campaign for the Republican Party. If they don't do that soon, then Trump will basically have cost the GOP potentially 8 years. Can everybody see that? So start seeing that shift probably sooner rather than later. Who Pence takes, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes Nikki Haley. I think there's been some talk about that. We can throw cards on that if people like. So that is basically what the remotes were the last year or 2 years if you were part of the private group. I'm pretty depressed, to be honest with you. I feel bad for the country that it's going to be going through this. It's kind of like a hollow victory. It's like, hey, Wims, you got, how can you be happy? How can you be happy when you see where we're headed? But to be honest with you, the anger and the blame on the intelligence agencies, I think it's justified. I think that Americans are going to want to know, how did they drop the ball? Because they really dropped the ball. Okay, so we're going to open it up to questions. Like I said, I'll be here for the hour. We'll be doing blitzes. Yeah, I'm here however long. Let's go ahead and ask the moderators because they see everything. So Michelle and Noel, if they want to go ahead and tell us what feedback they've been getting, and if you want to go ahead and get us started with what you want us to do the blitzes on. Lay it on me, Michelle. Go for it, Noel. Marianne Williamson is starting a movement. It's kind of an awakening in politics, or what she calls 21st century politics. And I think that as she'll be writing more political stuff, and she'll also be writing political speeches, which she's done in the past. And I think that that's a good thing. And in that sense, she will make a significant impact in politics, but she doesn't need to be the president to do that. And in fact, running for president limits her potential. So she's far better suited for bringing the awakening into politics, because being political and politically active is kind of the constitutional duty of all of us as American citizens. But how can we merge that with being awakened or being spiritual people, or people that care about the welfare of the planet and the citizens of the country. So that's basically what I see her doing. But her future writings are going to be quite good. All right. So yes, I think Pompeo is going to testify. Cuts in welfare. Yeah, I'm just writing down everybody's questions. Yeah, Trump being laughed at, that he would retreat from the laughter. This was a remote we did. Can people correct me when we did that? Was that remote 2 months ago? So that's the intelligence agencies. That's the worldview, is to point and laugh, because it's a way of disempowering bullies, is you laugh at them. And that's unfortunately for Trump what happened. And he walked out of the G7 because everybody was pointing and laughing at him. And it's not, I personally think it's not the best way to handle things, but all right. So we're going to go ahead and do a simple prayer, and we'll go in and we'll start doing the blitzes. It looks like you folks want me to look at Rudy Giuliani, Devin Nunez, Pompeo, Mike Pompeo. William Barr, I think, is going to be disbarred. Excuse me. Cuts in welfare, Lindsey Graham. Is that it? Obama is having a real hard time. Every time I go into a remote, he's got a real. He's really, he's really struggling with this book he's writing. He's got a little bit of a block and quite a bit of trauma, actually, from some of the stuff that he went through as president. John McCain. All right, let's go ahead and get started, because I think people want me to start. I'm going to do a simple prayer, and then we will do a general reading for the week, and then we'll go into the blitzes. Sound good, everybody? Are we good with that? All right, I want to call on white light protection for myself and my viewers as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity to empower our viewers so that we can make the best decision for ourselves, for the people we love, for the planet, and to show grace even for the people that we don't always agree with. With that, I say amen. Let's go in. What is going to be in the coming weeks? I can just hear the anger. People screaming at these generals, people screaming at our intelligence agencies. Where the hell were you? How did you let this happen to our country? We want answers. And they will want to blame Obama. But it's a legitimate question. How did we screw up? How did they screw up? Their feet are going to be on the flame. I don't look forward to that. Okay, so remember when I had said we went into the remote a couple weeks ago and we saw more indictments. Now there's 8 new indictments, and is it Nader? Is that his name? He's been indicted. It's the money trail. So that's why it feels like the intelligence agencies are ready to come out with a lot of stuff. A year and a half ago, like I said, when I did the remote, I felt the British were coming, that British intelligence was very, very active. It feels to me also as if British intelligence is more in control than the United States is, because for whatever reason, we were more vulnerable. We were more hacked than even the British. And it just feels to me like it was the British that came in and kind of saved us or rescued us or got us out of this situation. What's weird is that Saudi Arabia comes in as well, so that there are aspects of the Saudi Arabian intelligence agencies that are also cooperating despite the fact that they themselves are under investigation. So that's interesting. And I think that's because Saudi Arabia is having its own revolution. You've got 3 or 4 groups in Saudi Arabia fighting for power. You've got the Wahhabist and their supporters. You've got the intellectuals, the modernist, and you've got the royal family. So that relationship between Britain and Saudi Arabia and the sharing of intelligence is going to be very interesting how they maneuver that in the coming months and years. I also think we're going to have to take a really solid look at why the United States, while under Trump's administration, they blocked funding in Lebanon. This has not, we haven't done much investigating into that. But it's a war zone. I think something like 150 Americans were killed in was it 1983, 84? Which is why the American troops left. And it's an area, it's a hotbed for Hezbollah, which is Iran proxy army. We've talked about that. So we're going to see more coming out about leaks about what was going on when the Trump administration attempted to block funding to secure Lebanon's from Iranian, Syrian, and Russian aggression. And that is just one thing that hasn't come out yet. 6 months, right? A 6-month victory card and magician card coming in. So from the perspective of the American people, we're going to get through this. This feels to me like it's cleanup time. It feels to me like it's a cleanup time. I also feel that Mike Pence is going to be protected because he had an insurance policy, because he was wearing a wire. We said that 2 years ago, because when I went into the remote, I saw a wire. A lot of people had a wire. People want to know what Rosenstein said to Trump that kept him from being fired. When I went into the remote on that and tried to be the fly on the wall, he didn't say anything. It's that Trump was so terrified that if he fired Rosenstein, that there would be massive arrest. The fear of the consequences are what kept. Trump didn't have the balls to fire Rosenstein. But at that point, they had already transferred so much stuff over to other intelligence agencies and other members of the FBI that it wouldn't have mattered at that point because the ball was already rolling. There are other investigations in other states as well that have not become public. As I had said in previous remotes, the Russians didn't need Donald Trump in Moscow. That's not how this scheme worked. That's why he couldn't get a Trump Tower in Moscow. They already have Moscow. They don't need him in Moscow. How this scheme worked was they were giving him money to create fake businesses so that they could establish Russian operatives in places of interest. So they needed him in New York. They needed him in Florida. They needed him in California, the Vancouver Stock Exchange, right? Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, the former roads, trade routes that they had lost when the Soviet Union collapsed. Turkey, they wanted that road, they wanted that trade route, and they plowed right through the Kurds to get it. So once you understand the function of Donald Trump in the scheme of things, you understand why he couldn't get anything going in Moscow. Because Putin knew he was a horrible businessman, and it would have done nothing for Putin. And it would have done nothing to have pushed his agenda, which was to expand trade. All right, so 6 months, we're going into a time where finally I really feel like the British came in, they worked very closely with the American intelligence agencies. It was a very top secret investigation. We get our wish, and they monitored the situation. Like I said, Obama had said, continue to monitor the situation. It was a very deep cover investigation because they were monitoring phone calls. But all of that, the extent of that is going to come out in the next 6 to 8 months, and some of it will never come out. But Pelosi has been very active in that. Yeah, you can see the celebration and the wish card coming for us. A new contract, a sacred contract. I want to say something else that comes up when I go into this remote, and that is that there are great people serving in the Senate, and there are great people that are serving in Congress. And there are people that they attempted to bribe and compromise that did the right thing and reported to the FBI and reported to the intelligence agencies and completely cooperated with the intelligence agencies. And one of the reasons why they were able to go so deeply into this dark money and into forcing out so many congresspersons who are, some of them are resigning early and by the way, are facing charges in the future, is because so many people did the right thing. So many, not everyone in DC is a crook. There are a lot of people that are there for the right reasons, and they turned state's evidence. They went to the FBI. They did the right thing. So I want to just point that out as this unfolds. But to be clear, you're going to be seeing a lot more about the dark money, a lot more about how people were taking money from foreign governments and bribing people and hiding it in super PACs. It's all coming out. And specifically, it's going to be down and dirty for the next 8 months. The shuffling of the money. The shuffling of the money. Let me show you. The businessman who shuffles the money. The contracts, the karma, the karmic wheel coming. We get our wish, a celebration. Within 6 months, we return to our power. The nation will return to its power, but we took a very heavy blow. It makes me feel good when I go into these cards and I see just how many good people in our intelligence agencies, in our military, in our government did the right thing. We may have looked like we were down, and it was a very scary time for us. But I always like to say this is kind of like a rope-a-dope in the sense that it was really a time when we went dark. Our intelligence agencies went dark and were just recording and following money, following conversations. And now now they're ready to go forward. I think that a lot of this investigation was over a year and a half ago, because it was a year and a half ago when I started to feel like everything was going to be okay. The Queen of Wands moves in as a position of territory. It's also when someone has encroached on your territory. I think of Queen of Wands. She's also holding the staff. It's Pelosi's card, the staff of authority. She's often represented as the head of the tribe, Yehudit. A new foundation, a new relationship, Two of Wands. You can see relationships or partnerships, the hope and the fear being cornered. And then the final outcome for the nation is that the truth is going to come out. What I like about this energy that we're headed into as a country is this energy from the intelligence agencies that everything's going to come out. Everything is going to come out. And it's not just going to be one thing. It's the Muller report. It's everything that Muller was doing. It's following the money. It's the fact that they could not delay the inevitable. If this president wants to avoid more public embarrassment and not face prosecution once it gets to the Senate, particularly those evangelicals that desperately want to see Pence be the president, there will be mounting pressure on him that he has to get out, probably as early as February of 2020. And the clarification, you can see there's military cards, fast and furious movement, and then heartbreak over the truth coming out. I don't think all Americans are going to be happy about this, but I think it will be irrefutable in a very short amount of time. And it's interesting. It goes back to the remote I did on the British intelligence, where I was trying to get some information. I was trying to get some information when I had done this remote a couple of weeks ago, and it was very cool. And I heard this energy when I was sitting in London. I heard this energy say to me, "You're going to know everything we know in a very short amount of time." It was a very calm, that everybody needs to relax, that everybody has to have faith. The British are coming, and it's a good thing. And you're going to all know everything that we know in a very, very short amount of time. So so that's the kind of feeling that you get from this sun coming out. But I can tell you, with this movement card and the 9 of Swords, that is like a nightmare. That's to be woken up, tormented. So the best way to describe this is that someone's dreams have come to an end. Someone's dream has become a nightmare. That horrible moment when you realize that the contract that you had with somebody, the person that you trusted, that it was all a lie. The person that you trusted, that was going to be your savior, that was going to watch your back, doesn't give a crap about you. So it's hard for me as a remote viewer, and I'm a professional empath, to be happy right now. You see what I'm saying? Because when you do this kind of work and you allow yourself to feel what other people are feeling so that you can understand them and so that you can be a voice for them, it doesn't always feel good. It doesn't feel good to be somebody, a struggling farmer whose soybeans are rotting in the ground, who was barely making it as it was, have to come to the painful realization that they were part of the problem, that they buried themselves. That's not something that I rejoice in. I don't rejoice in seeing it as a remote viewer, to be honest with you. Okay, so that was the general 6 to 8 months, and it's going to end with us screaming at our own intelligence age. I'm sorry, but that's where we're headed. Let's go ahead and look at Rudy Giuliani. Hi, Ona. Thanks for coming. What's going to be with Rudy Giuliani? You know, it almost feels like he was compromised early on, possibly when he was investigating the mob, or something happened. When I go into his energy, a judgment is coming, and an Ace of Wands, which is, let's see. Fool took a leap of faith. Victory in 6 months. There's something about something coming up and a judgment coming with an Ace of Wands. A new beginning. Keeps talking about this new energy or this new beginning. He's on the world stage. The money. And a sacred contract. I would not be surprised if he was a double agent with cards like these. That being a double agent may have been his insurance policy. There's something here about a new, he appears to have some type of escape route. Roger Stone also was going to flip. When we did a remote on Roger Stone a couple of months ago, it looked like he was ready to flip, because when we did a remote on Roger Stone, we found out that he was facing tax evasion charges in New York. which hasn't, I don't think that's gone public yet. Walking away from a battle he can't win. The devil card is next to him. Hopes and fears, strife, and then the final outcome for him is the 10 of Cups. He does have an insurance policy, and I would not be surprised if he makes a deal. Yeah. He's done something. I'm telling you, Giuliani has done something to protect himself. And I don't know if it's because he's collected all this stuff and handed it to the FBI or what's going on, but something has happened with Giuliani where he is somehow able to protect himself. Even if he gets prosecuted, he may be able to get a lesser sentence because of there's just something going on with him that seems to suggest he's handing information over, and he's able to make a deal. With the Lover's card coming in, and with the 5 of Pentacles in his 7th house, which is about exile or getting out of exile or getting away from a situation that places one out of the church. And the Wish card coming, 3 of Wands. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays itself out. Very, very interesting. All right, Devin Nunez was the next request. Isn't that interesting? I mean, this guy's going to figure out a way to get out of this. What do you think? Do you think he was secretly working both sides? It's possible, right? All right, let's see about Devin Nunez. Yeah. Who knows? Wouldn't it be weird if he was like an operative? Those cards were really, who knows? Devin Nunez. Nunez, right? Devin Nunez. What's going to be with Devin Nunez? There's another one. They followed the money. Went right to Devin Nunez's door, right? Follow the money. And the money took me to offshore accounts. So then that gets you in trouble in terms of both federal and state charges when it comes to not paying your taxes. He's going to have to get a lawyer. He's shell-shocked. He can't believe how fast this just derailed. And he can't, like a lot of people who become victims of malignant narcissists, you're shell-shocked and you can't believe what you were manipulated in doing. And now he's the one stuck having to get a lawyer. Trump, the Empress card, information coming out, the treasure trove. He's genuine. You know, you go into Devin Nunez's energy and you really feel shell-shocked. Like, how did I get here and how did I get here so quickly? The law, justice is coming in, walking away. He could be removed. He's in serious trouble. He's facing possible jail time. This guy's in trouble. I don't know if he's a lawyer. If he is, he could be disbarred. Look at that. He's going to have to turn away from this president and save himself. And he needs a lawyer. Look at this. Cards, they're horrible. He's going to have to cooperate. Oh my God, he's in trouble. He's out of there. He needs to cooperate. He needs to lawyer up. And if he already is a lawyer, he could be disbarred. Look at these horrible cards. Look at this. Look at this. This guy could go to jail. This is one of the people that, oh my God, is he in trouble? Oh my God. These are the worst cards. Oh my God. Magician card. The eyes opening. Yeah, he's going to have to cooperate. He has no choice. By the way, the fact that he's associated with Trump and he has this Emperor's card would lead me to suggest he has more information that's going to help prosecution. And the Hierophant, the Constitution wins, magician, the only way that he's going to be able to get himself out of this mess is whatever information he has, he'd better hand it over, because the intelligence agencies now have their power back, and that he has a mark on him. This guy is in serious trouble. Look at that. Look at this. Jeez. But he's walking around shell-shocked. You go into Devin Nunes's energy, and he's literally shell-shocked. Like, how the heck did this happen? It's like he was hypnotized or something. Isn't that crazy? It's like NLP. Like the guy was completely like, what the hell just happened? It's like you're under a spell and you snap out of it. That's what his energy looks like. And did you see how the energy shifted from incarceration, legal problems, walking away from the broken man to getting his power back by cooperating? Isn't that crazy? All right, let's look at Mike Pompeo now. Is everybody having fun? If you're hanging with me, you're having fun. Yeah, I think Giuliani is going to be a double agent in the end, which will be interesting. Should we do an impeachment party Saturday night? Oh, Mark is here. High love to you as well, Mark. We should do an impeachment party, shouldn't we? Just to cheer ourselves up. I know we have Trump supporters here, or people that were Trump supporters. It's okay. I don't judge anyone. I'm just a remote viewer. But what we could all cry in our beer, or in my case, Italian soda, and we can just talk about it. Maybe if y'all want to do an impeachment party Saturday night, let me know, because I think that would probably be really good for us. All right, let's do Mike Pompeo. Y'all having as much fun as I am? I love this. All right, what's going to be with Mike Pompeo? Is he going to testify? People say, God, you're here for a whole hour. I can't sit through a whole hour. You don't have to. Watch 15 minutes, turn it off, come back later. Watch it in sections. Mike Pompeo. They took stuff from him without him asking. It was taken out of his hands. That's what he's saying. He's shocked because he gave stuff to other people, and then those people went to the intelligence agencies. They reported it. So so people are reporting on Pompeo. Smoother waters, and then the Hermit card. So this is somebody trying to maneuver themselves out of a potentially bad situation. He's also facing really serious legal problems. He put himself there. If you're reading an Eight of Swords is the person that places themselves in the situation that they're currently in. A judgment comes due to a decision that he made. He put himself in a situation, and now judgment is coming. He's in trouble. He's completely confused, just like Nunes. I swear, these cards, this energy is like they all went under hypnosis, and they just became little robots, and now they're like snapping out of it. Like, what the heck was that? You ever dated somebody like that? The guy who just woos you, and then you snap out of it. Like, what the heck am I doing? The suitor. Impeachment party therapy fund. That's funny, Courtney. Yeah, I'll get some chocolate and some Italian soda, and I don't drink. I don't smoke marijuana either. I during my divorce, I got a prescription for it, and it did help me. But I find that best remote viewers are just we are clean and sober from the. Sometimes I have a little skullcap tea or holy basil, but you really want your mind to be clear. Look at that. Legal problems. He's already in, look at it, it's a past placement. The FBI has already talked to Pompeo. Look at that. He's going to have to give up the goods. I see this as the Constitution. The ethos of the country, 3 of Wands moving in. Oh my God. You know, to be honest with you, Trump's advocates are leaving, and you can't say no to the intelligence agencies. He's going to be permanently damaged from this because the devil card is in his 7th house. Even it's too little too late for Pompeo. It's too little too late. You can get a reading from me by going to tarotwithwhimsy.com. The information is in the description below. Their phone readings. I call you unless you're out of the country, in which case you would call me through WhatsApp. I give readings to people all over the world, and I'm in Pacific Standard Time, so LA time. And I would love to give you a reading. I love what I do, and I love helping people. All right, so 3 of Cups and 2 of Wands with a new partnership is coming in for Pompeo, but look, he will pay a heavy price. In fact, he's already paying a heavy price because the law has already come in, and he's got a confusion card in his 7th house, so he's completely disoriented. What a mess. What a mess. This is like leaving a cult. Both him and Nunes, but Nunes especially is like, you go into Nunes's energy and it's like he's sucker punched. It's like what the hell? What the hell? I actually feel bad for him because he needs some help or something, because that's not good energy. They literally got seduced. They literally got almost hypnotized by this guy. It's crazy. Isn't that weird? These charismatic people. All right, I think William Barr could face being disbarred. So let's go ahead and just look at William Barr. What's going to be with William Barr? I'm going as fast as I can because I know you all have a lot of questions. Yeah, I actually feel empathy for Nunes, because he's just like, what the hell? What have I done? Who am I? What has been happening? Is it all? It's like ice water on his head. And Pompeo, it's like, I'll cooperate. No, too late. You already did the crime, Pompeo. I'll hand over everything now. Is that going to help you now? Let's look at William Barr. What a mess. These are good cards today, though, right? Pretty easy to read. Y'all finding them easy to read? Those of you that are readers? Pretty easy. Yeah, this is kind of looking sad, because you go into this energy with William Barr, and he doesn't want to hand over documents. It's a feeling of holding on to documents when you go into this energy. He can't break the law, but he can try and prevent documents. He can try and keep documents out of the hands of certain people. So what he's doing is legal but shady. So there's the King of Cups with the Emperor card, which is it's executive branch of the brain. It's the ability to look objectively at a situation. King of Cups is the King of Hearts. It's the marrying between the Cups energy and the executive branch of the brain. So if it's in relationship to Trump, it would be somebody trying to show him mercy while at the same time trying to be the judge, or trying to be in a position of the judge or the daddy energy. It's the person who's attempting to be objective. That would be the best way to describe it. Two of Wands, a new partnership coming in. What crosses him? Ten of Swords. Every attempt he has made to keep the release of certain documents from Congress, it's over. The battle is over. Officially today, when they officially made it that it would be an impeachment hearing, at that point, it put them in a situation from a constitutional perspective where Barr can no longer, it's like the little boy that puts his finger in the dike and tries to keep the floods at bay. And now the flood has happened. It's the guy treading water, but inevitably will drown. The Constitution again wins. Scholarship. The fool takes a leap of faith. Yeah, because of the law. Look at this, Trump. A new contract, the sacred contract, walking away. Yeah, he can't help Trump anymore. Look at that. He's in trouble. He could face. He is going to argue that what he did was legal, but it's really hit or miss because this shows that he intentionally attempted to hold on to documents that he knew showed that crimes were committed. So it's in a gray area. He could face serious consequences. His cooperation could lead to a situation. He put himself in this situation, this outcome. But you can see it's over this Lover's card. The hope and the fear is Trump, and you can see the police or the police or legal action moving in, heartbreak, walking away, the fool who had made decisions regarding the King of Swords, and then the Lover's card, a sacred contract or a new arrangement comes in that places him in, and because of that, he has placed himself in a situation that he may not be able to get out of. So my conclusion from that is that William Barr will hand everything over. It's going to be a situation where he's up against the wall, and he can no longer say no, and then he hands everything over, and it's right now. He lost. Dang. Gosh. Not good. All right. Somebody had asked me about cutting welfare. What's going to happen because the poorest of the poor are getting even poorer under this administration. Sorry, my nose is running. What is going to happen with cuts in welfare? And the majority of the people on welfare are women and children, by the way. So it means children going without food. Can you imagine doing that to a child before Christmas? It's going to happen with the poor and the cuts in welfare. What a monster. I'm sorry. I try not to be judgmental, but I grew up on welfare. Let me tell you, those food stamps come in handy. What's going to happen with welfare? It's going to push people closer towards Elizabeth Warren. For every action, there's a reaction of equal or greater force, right? So when you do it, when I go into the remote on the people, the 700,000 people that are going to be victims of this, it's creating outrage in them and family members, people who suffer from chronic mental illness who can't work a job. Single mothers who don't earn enough money because they have a disabled child, so they can't work a full-time job because their kid needs them. Kids with cerebral palsy, multiple dystrophy, multiple sclerosis patients, people that are doing the best they can, but they can only work maybe 10, 20 hours a week, and they've got a disabled child, they have to stay home. If you're pro-life, then you have to take into consideration the fact that not every child is going to be born healthy. And if you can't financially afford to take care of an extremely sick child, then the child will either wind up in an institution, or the mom has to stay home and give 24/7 care. And if she's single, or if she's stuck with not stuck, but if she's given the challenge of a severely disabled child and no support, then it's going to make it very difficult for her to be the primary caregiver for that child and pay the bills. And that's the problem with what has happened. My concern with this, the King of Wands establishes boundaries, and then the Death card, or the transformation of a situation, is that it will not bode well for the Republicans, and it will not bode well for conservatives, because what's going to happen is that there's going to be a huge retaliation, because some of the people that have had to get government aid are the farmers and the workers who lost their jobs picking soybeans, the employees who have now had to turn towards government support because the government has screwed up the job situation. So a lot of the government aid is in the Midwest, and a lot of people that have turned towards food stamps are in those areas that have recently become depressed because of this administration's policy. So you go into the energy and you feel this huge backlash, and it pushes people towards Bernie Sanders and actually pushes them more towards Elizabeth Warren, so much so that it could even result in violent protest. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, the Tower card comes in, and it's this explosion of anger and rage, and it creates even more of an incentive by the poor and from the disenfranchised, people who can't afford to pay their rent in Seattle anymore because big business have made it so that we can't financially afford even a studio apartment, working at Amazon.com. I mean, you work full-time at Amazon.com, but you can't afford a studio. You might be able to afford a room, but even then you might not you can't afford a room in Seattle working at Amazon and a car. You're going to have to take public transportation. It's that sort of pressure that finally causes an explosion, the lid to come off, with the Tower card coming in. About the money, withholding of the money. The lawyers are coming in. There's also this attempt at justice, or to right an injustice. There's going to be a legal fight. This looks to me like a legal fight is going to start to happen, but it's going to lead to more protest, more marching, and more people pushing towards a New Deal, because people are up against the wall. They can't afford their health care. They can't afford their diabetes medication. They've got a disabled partner or a disabled child. They've lost their work, or their crops are going bad in the field. Everything just kind of builds up, and you see this conflict, this fighting, and this rage start to emerge, and it seems to push everybody left. And this is when you're going to start seeing the split. This is the thing that's going to cause a lot of people that were on the fence to go more to the left. Wow. I like the King of Wands moving in, because that establishes territory and fights the good fight. And I like the fact that the Eight of Pentacles came in. So there are going to be lawyers, probably organizations that work for the poor, that are going to attempt to really do something to deal with this problem. But it's going to give, it's going to be the wind that pushes the progressives forward to some extent. All right, we've got time for one more question. So we're going to look at South Korea, which has been threatening the United States. So we'll do that, and then we will call it a day. That's right, layer cake arts. Love Seattle, grew up there, but I can't go home, right? We can't go home now. It's going to be with North Korea. Well, this looks stupid. They're not going to bomb us. They're going to show off some brand new missile or something. That's what it looks like. They're going to show something off. Look what we can do. But I don't think they're actually going to attack anybody. The Christmas surprise is like fireworks. Look, we have a new rocket. Ooh, I went over. Okay, a judgment is coming down. There's some tensions going on about funding South Korea, it looks like, and the military budget. And it looks like Trump's administration was, there was something going on in terms of funding and support for South Korea. The money. There's something about the money and funding and an offer. New beginning. Yes. They wanted to do business with the West. Yeah, this is all about double aces. This is about wanting to open up trade between the North and the South. We've talked about this. And wanting to return the cultures, like bringing the cultures together between the North and the South, and a softening of things. But no, I don't see war or anything like that. It's really more, this almost looks like a fireworks display or something, but I don't see war, I don't see death, I don't see anything like that. This is more talking about how we can open up trade and business between North and South Korea, and still secure the safety of South Korea. That's basically what I see. Wow, that was really interesting today. I liked the energy. I felt the cards were really easy to read. I think everything's going to be okay. I just would encourage everybody to go back to the remote for the British intelligence agencies when we tuned in. Thanks, Jane. 3 babies, a mazel tov. She's got 10 babies. Where the British intelligence had said that we'd all need to relax, go about our lives, as you always have, and that you'll know everything that we know in a very, very short amount of time. That everything's going to be okay. That was the message. So I trust the British intelligence. I trust that the energy of that. So if they're saying that everything's going to be okay and that we're going to know everything in a very short amount of time, and that rest assured everything's everything's going to be fine, then I'm going to listen. All right. Thank you, everybody who's been here for an hour and 13 minutes supporting this channel. I take your time seriously, and I appreciate the fact that you spent your time with me. If you'd like to find out more about my work, my name is Whimsy. I am a remote viewer and a tarot card reader. And if you'd like to come in for a personal session, I do them here in Los Angeles or by phone. And you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. And I would love to have a session with you. You make an appointment online, and then I call you at the appointed time. Thank you, everyone, for your support. I want to give gratitude to Michelle Taylor. We love you as well for being a moderator extraordinaire. Noelle, thank you. Onus Tarot as well. Thank you for showing up. And everybody who showed up today. We'll see you next time. And thanks for the support. Be well, everyone. Peace out. And don't worry. Remember, the British are coming, and we're going to know everything in a very short amount of time. Right. Take care, everyone. Peace out.